Hello, everyone, and welcome to Churchy Chats with a Church Girl. Tonight, there's quite a bit going on, right? We have an election that's in the works, I guess I'll say. And, I thought tonight, when I thought about it, I was like, maybe it wasn't a good idea. But then I was like, no, we definitely need a minute to breathe and to take some time away from looking in front of the television, from listening to the radio, from all of that stuff. So Churchy Chats is here as usual. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Make sure you share this broadcast and join the conversation. My name is Alicia Wiley. If this is your first time here, I am the owner and creator of A Church Girl, which is a lifestyle brand and a clothing line that seeks to inspire and uplift everyone we have the privilege of connecting with. And tonight starts off a very special series of episodes on Churchy Chats because we're doing something a little different. We're going to have shows that are specific topics, and I could not think of a better person to start this off than Alaina. I'm going to let me bring her on, and then I'm going to tell you all a little bit of our history. So I met Alaina. I want to now help me, Alaina. I want to say around the time I started A Church Girl, right?
Right.
Somewhere in there we met, and she had a boutique. Her and two friends of hers had a boutique called Baggage Boutique. And y'all, I will never forget this. They were the first people to have a Church Girl products in their store. So Alaina, thank you. I appreciate that still to this very day. She's always just been a sweet, sweet, amazing woman of God. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. But, she's been a boutique owner. She's a wife. She's a mom. She's an elder of the great gospel. She is a finance guru. She is just a craft. She does it all, y'all. She does it all. So, Alaina, I am so honored to have you here tonight. Say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. My name is Alaina, and I'm the CEO of The Organized Money, which is I'm a financial coach and a time management coach. I help people who just want to learn how to plan their life and manage their money. I have a YouTube channel. I'm in ministry, and I'm the CFO of the City of Love under Bishop Lester Love and Pastor Fran Love. And of course, I am a wife, a mother of two precious daughters. And I just love to teach about money and help people grow and get organized.
So you are everything that I know that I need in my life right now. So aside from this, we definitely need to connect. But I am honored to have Alaina on. And although I know I said in the beginning, we want to get your mind off of the election, we don't also want to pretend that it's not happening, right? And pretend that we don't have feelings and thoughts about it. So for the first few minutes, we're just going to hash a little bit of that out. So how have you felt today, Alaina? I know for me, it's kind of been a mixed bag. And I've tried to kind of not watch the news, kind of stay away from things that I knew would be triggers for me. And as I was getting ready for the show tonight, I turned on the news because I was like, I don't want to be too out of the loop. And the first thing that I saw was that polls were closing in like 3 minutes. Like they had a little timer up, and it was going to be 6 o'clock on the East Coast. And I was like, that has to be wrong, right? I was like, because polls cannot be closing at 6 o'clock, but it was accurate, and that aggravated me. So I was like, I know, okay, so today I did do the right thing by just shutting out the noise. How have you felt today?
So, yes, I did start off my day very anxious. The main thing that I try and remember the most is that the news is set up to entertain just as much as it
Hmm.
to inform. So a lot
Absolutely.
of times you cannot get too tuned in to what's going on. You got to kind of wait a little bit because they're going to feed you all of the entertainment part, the stuff that gets you really anxious. They're just going to tell you all these crazy things that could possibly happen, but nothing is set in stone. So I've been trying to stay
Absolutely.
away until it gets a little bit closer and
Hmm. Hmm.
information is a little bit more accurate. That is
Absolutely.
that's what helps ease my nerves.
Yes, yeah. And I saw somebody posted today. they were saying, that it was, 8 in the morning and they had already unfriended or blocked people because, of the comments they made. And she asked how everybody else's election day was going. And one young lady replied, she was like, it's only 11, a.m. and I've been trying to nap as much as possible because that's just how anxious I am. The, and I don't want to say the song, but I guess it is the song, the phrase that has been ringing in my spirit all day is, it is well,
Yeah. Yeah.
because for me, the thing that's been kind of strange about this, I guess, is, and I hate to say this, but I don't know if I'm expecting what, that we're going to maybe get on the side that we want. I don't know if I'm expecting things to come out the way that I want them to turn out, right? So I've tried to already make peace with that long ago, but there's still this little bit of anxiousness that says, even if it doesn't turn out, I mean, like, even if you're expecting this, are you still ready for this?
Yeah, I remember
So,
in 2016, I was just so
mhm,
sure that Clinton was going to win, because
right.
the polls, everything, the polls had so, they told us. I was so sure that I ended up going to bed at like 9:30 before
I
they
think
even,
I did too.
because
I
I was
did
just
too.
like, oh, she's definitely going to win. And then when I woke up in the morning and I found out that she didn't win, I was so devastated. But I realized that, God got us in the end. I mean,
Hmm.
we hope for the
Absolutely.
best. We're praying for the best. We want the best, especially even in the Senate races, the other races
Ye-
that are really going to affect the
Yes,
state, that are going to affect
absolutely.
us. We definitely are praying for the best, but if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't work out, um, we know that God got us, and it's gonna be okay. It might be the next rough four.
But
We
yeah,
gonna power through it. And I try and make that kind of help my anxiety. Drink some
sure.
water, take some deep breaths, do some meditation,
Yeah,
try and keep myself leveled. I will not probably go to sleep this time because I don't want that type of devastation. I want to see it, but
right.
I am trying to take it to, like, be at peace no matter what happens.
Sure,
No matter what
sure.
happens.
And when you talked about 2016, I think what happened with me is I went to bed early too, but it wasn't because I was confident. It was because I was starting to feel that things were going the wrong way. And I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? Not today, Satan. But I did end up kind of waking up like middle of the night and turning to CNN or whatever. And it was like president elect. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna wake up and that's not going to be real. Right. But I remember I was driving Uber at the time, and I just remember it being a very somber day. I remember it being very sad, very somber. People were really like, I don't even know how to process this. Right. So,
Right.
I mean, like you said, it's all in God's hands. He's got us regardless of how this turns out. And I'm just praying for everybody because I know that I saw so much on my timeline, and I think that's what bothered me is so many people were like, I'm so anxious about this and I'm so nervous and I just want to speak peace, to everybody's spirit and just I hate to say this because it sounds cliche, but let go and let God, right? We did our part. So now we have to let the powers that be do the rest. So
Okay.
that's the election talk that y'all have from us on Churchy Chats tonight. We're moving far away from that. I really brought Alaina on to talk about, I coined it festive finances because, so often we we do the same cycle year after year as it relates to how we spend our money over the holidays and how we prepare for the holidays. And I wanted to just shed some light and give us some tips and advice on how we can do better, not just, well, yeah, of course we need to do better year round, but how we can do better with this high stress time, with us figuring out what to do and how to spend, how far our money is going to go, et cetera, et cetera. So Elaine is here tonight to talk about all of that, and we're going to get into that right after our first commercial break. Stay tuned. So let's jump right in, Alaina. My first question for you is, well, I'm gonna kind of combine a question. How early should one start to prepare financially for the holidays? But I also want to put a caveat to that. Is it more important to have a plan or to start early, or
So
both?
it's kind of both. It's kind of both. I can say this: the plan helps you prepare the time frame. One of the most important things you can do is know how much you need for that time frame, right? And
Hmm.
then that kind of feeds to how much time you actually have. I usually start around the month of July, and it's mainly because
Okay.
my overall goal is $600 for Christmas. That's usually what I'm doing for Christmas, and then I'll have a set amount for Thanksgiving. But I can plan it out to where I'm doing like $100 a month. That's automatically
Hmm.
going into this separate account for my Christmas budget, and that's because I know how it is, how much I need.
Sure.
If you need more, like let's say, like for us for Thanksgiving, I usually start earlier than I
Uh-huh.
would Christmas, mainly because we travel for Thanksgiving and we're a family of four. We
Sure.
are we need four tickets. We need, travel. We have a rental car. It's a bunch more. So I know I'm going to need like 1,500 to 2,000. So for that
Hmm.
particular budget, I might start in like February or March to start
Okay.
saving for November. So, how early should you start? It depends. It depends on how much you need. If you know, okay, I need $500 and you know you only have like $50 extra, then calculate it out. Like, let's see, how long will it take you if you save $50 a check? When should
Hmm.
you start versus based on the day that you know you're going to need the money? So,
Sure.
and I know a lot of times when we're thinking about this, we want to save large amounts. You want to say 500. I want to
Hmm.
say 600. It's best to start with, if you know you need a large amount at the end, to start as early as possible and to start saving as much, as little as you possibly can from each check so you don't feel it and it doesn't hurt your monthly budget.
Absolutely. And I'm going to spring another question on you. How much, I don't know if people even really think about this, but with Thanksgiving being a heavy travel, it's the most traveled holiday. Plus it's the food, it's the cost to host if you're hosting it. And then, I mean, we have literally 30 days, sometimes less, to Christmas. How much of your yearly income, and I know this probably sounds like crazy to the people, but how much of your yearly income should you be spending on the holidays? Like, how much should we really be comfortably setting aside without hurting ourselves for the rest of the year?
So this is what I consider more of a mindset question, because
Mhm.
it's something that we have discussed in depth in our house. And I'm going to probably be a little bit unconventional here, but I believe that we have put too much focus on
Mhm.
Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays and trying to be the ultimate giver, that we give to everyone that we know, and we're trying to find presents for every single person. But in reality, even with my kids, what I have realized is that with them even being smaller, like I
Mhm.
do like two or three presents. They don't have to have 10, 15 presents underneath the tree in order for me to be
Yes.
considered a good mom. I believe that social media has influenced the way that we purchase things. The
Mhm.
society has influenced the way that we purchase things, and we have gotten in this mindset of more stuff. Like more stuff means
Yes.
more love, and in reality,
Mhm.
it's just not the case. And what we have seen, and when it comes down to mindset, is experiences outweigh the stuff so much more. You will forget what somebody bought you, but you'll remember how that present may have made you feel, or how them
Sure.
just to visit you made you feel.
Hmm.
A lot of times it's about the experience, and it's about the time with the family more than it is about the presence. And we really might have to change our mindset with that. And once you
Sure.
do that, it makes it easier to save the money and to not spend as much. It may take a conversation with your family. I know with mine,
Hmm.
like my husband, we'll do gifts around anniversary. We don't do much for Christmas and all of the other stuff,
Hmm.
because we are focused on the things like the experiences, and focused on
Sure.
the kids and things like that.
And I think that made a really good point. I know, I have a small family, right? But my friends have large families, and some of them would do like a Secret Santa, right?
Mhm.
And at first I was like, "Oh, like, I don't know, like, you would only buy a gift for one person?" Like, that was my mindset as a young person, right? Because I couldn't really process that, because that's not really, um how we saw things done, right? Everybody, not it wouldn't be like necessarily everybody's buying a gift for everybody, but you could expect to have multiple gifts from different people. And as an adult, I'm like, that makes so much sense, right? Because it alleviates some of the stress of having to buy. If you do have a large family, if you have siblings and then you have children and then, you have nieces and nephews, the weight of it eventually just gets to be too much. So I think it's very important that we change our mindset about what's important. And if I can't buy for you, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but um, we have to kind of be open to that as well. I don't know if people are offended. um, I don't know, because I've had some experiences in my life, and this was, probably some years back, but people are kind of offended, like if you don't give them something, or if you don't, and it's like, I
And
don't
that
know.
Right. That pressure is so real. The average person goes into
Yeah.
debt around $1,000 for the holidays, which means that every January, about 40% of people have $1,000 in debt that they did not have in the month of October or September, because
Mm,
they're trying to help this pressure. I don't want the pressure of people being upset with me because I didn't get all of these different people all of these gifts.
mm,
But I
right.
think what it ends up coming down to is expectation. You have to communicate. You have to be very,
Hmm.
very open with family, with friends, on managing expectations and having open conversations about what's the goal? What are we going to do? Are we going to just not exchange gifts at all, or do the secret?
Yes.
I think Secret Santa is an amazing idea. Like, to
Yes.
then everyone gets at least one gift from someone, and then we just have fun and enjoy the experience of being with one another, which is what it should really be about.
Right, absolutely. And I think what happened for me, like I said, we have a small family. So my sister and I, when we were like teenagers and this was like early teenage years, we would like buy gifts for everybody, like everybody on the staff, like, because that was like our family. We have a small family. And then I don't know at what point that I was like, okay, I don't have the money, or at that point, teenagers, like, I would rather spend it on me. So when I got in that real
Right?
teenage phase, right, I was like, well, I can't buy for this one and not buy for that one. So gifts ceased for everybody at that point. It was like, Merry Christmas. That was kind of my thing. So and I will admit, I'm not really a gift giver like that. People in my family, I give money to usually, but I'm not a big gift giver. And I know when I have a family, that's gonna change to some degree. But I think we just I don't know if our parents were really thought about it, right? If this was something that needed to be discussed. Finances are not really discussed in the home anyway, especially as much as they should. But when it comes to holiday finances, I mean, that's something that doesn't even cross people's minds. But, for months later into March and April, sometimes you're telling me you can't get me anything because you're still in debt and you're waiting on your income tax check, right? But if we
Right.
can plan it better, then maybe we don't have to, it's not so much pressure. You won't have to be in so much debt. And then you can enjoy the holidays more because you don't have that weight on your shoulders, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna go. Oh, go ahead, Elena. You wanted to say something?
I was just going to say, if you are a gift giver, let's say you do like to have a bunch of different gifts for a bunch of different people, then I would
Mm-hmm.
suggest two things. The first thing is that you start early, because
Mm-hmm.
as many times as people like to believe that the deals come up for Black Friday, for all, usually
Yes.
not the case. Usually things are much higher. Even
Okay.
if they're saying it's on sale, it's not really a sale, because they know that this is
Wow.
the highest shopping time of the year. Cyber Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
Cyber Monday and Black Friday are myths. Usually the prices are
Wow.
high, and you can find them cheaper throughout the course of the year. And the second
Mm-hmm.
is to think about the smaller gifts. Think about your mugs and your candles and the different things that you may
Yes.
see that people can appreciate, and not such the large price gifts.
Absolutely. And Miss Eunice, she made a very good point. She said they do group gifts, one gift for the family. I think that's a great idea, right? There are things like fire sticks and karaoke machines. This is just, crazy stuff that can bring families together that can really be useful because it has meaning, right? You thought about each of the family members and what would bring them joy as a family. So I think that's really neat. I think that's really cool. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Ms. Eunice, for tuning in and feeding back with that because I think that's great and a great idea for people. So we're going to take our second commercial break and then we'll be right back.
Feeling good, feeling lovely, hey. Feeling more joy on the way, hey. It's written all over your face. It's a whole mood celebrate. Feeling so fly with the vibes on high. Feeling alright when you walk in the light. Ain't lifestyle like a morning. Hello.
So, Elena, between hosting holiday parties and buying gifts, is it possible? Now, most of us, well, hopefully most of us have a savings plan, right? Something that we operate throughout the year. I take so much out of each check that goes to my savings, right? But a lot of us, when it comes to, high stress times or high spending times, we will stop that and say, well, I'll use this money towards, the holidays. Is it possible to still stay on course with saving money during the holidays? Can we still, make that commitment to save even though we have these other obligations?
It is definitely, definitely possible. The first thing that I would say that you would do is, if you already have a plan for what you're going to do for the holidays, then you can save throughout the course of the year for that particular holiday, which means
Mhm.
that there won't be so much pressure on you when the holiday comes, right? If you already have $500 set aside, then you already have the money that you need for the particular holiday, which means your monthly budget shouldn't be affected that much. If you
Okay.
are running a little bit late, let's say you don't have like as much as you need currently saved, then the next thing that I would suggest is not to stop saving, but reduce it.
Mhm.
You can reduce
Okay. Okay.
the amount that you're saving. The thing that we have to remember about saving is that it's way more about the habit than it is about the amount. We want to
That's
just
good.
keep the habit going. Why? Because once you get out of the habit, once
Whew.
you stop a habit, it takes a while, at least 90 days for that habit to kick back in, which means that if you stop in the month of November because you're trying to wait until after Christmas, you're not going to start
Mhm.
right back up immediately after January. It's
Sure.
probably going to take you until March or April to
Mhm.
start again. So what you can do is, even if you're saving $5 a check every time you get paid,
Mm.
$5, $10, keep the habit going, because the habit keeps your mindset in the right place that saving is a priority for you, and you want to prioritize saving over spending at all times. So I would say, even
That's
if
good.
you know that you can't save $100, then you save 50. If it can't be 50, save 25. I don't care if you're saving ones and you're doing $5 every time you get paid. We want to make it a priority every single time that we get paid so we don't lose that habit.
And that's very good advice. I think, usually we think if it's not at least a certain amount, then it's not useful for us. And I know for me, and this is kind of off of the topic of holiday, but I know what would happen for me is somebody would give me, money for a birthday or something, where I would get a little chunk of change. And instead of saving it, I would pay bills with it, right? Because I felt like in my mind, I felt like if I'm in debt, then I don't really have savings. But I had to calibrate that thing a little bit, because I'm like, if you unless you're paying this stuff off, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, unless you're paying this stuff off, then come up with a plan to pay off your bill. Okay, and this, my banker helped me with this. He said, okay, this is what we're going to do. How long do you want to take to pay off these bills? And I was like, let's do 2 years or whatever. And we just went in there, we added them all up, and we divided it by 24 months, right? So this is how much that you have to put on it month to month. And that allowed me to save and not feel like I was doing myself a disservice by not paying these bills down, So that taught me, kind of how to prioritize savings, because it would be the first thing to go for me, or the first thing, or the last thing that I would do. It was nothing that was set in stone. I would just be like, okay, I got $1,000 for my birthday. Okay, I'll put maybe $200 in savings, but let me see how many bills I can pay down. But if I'm still in debt at the end of the day, then you need to be paying you.
Yeah, always pay yourself first. Always, always, always. That's why I say it really, even if you have to tweak the amount, even if you have to make it smaller, that it's all about that habit. And if you are at a loss for how much, if you can't come up with a set amount every single time, do a percentage. When I first started out, I was doing when I first started saving, I was doing like 1%, 2% every time I got paid.
That's good.
Because I wanted to feel like I was taking, but I remember like it was like $20, $30 when I first started.
Right.
But every little bit counts. And anytime I got money, I would automatically take out 1%, which might have been $20, $30. And it didn't feel like it was a big deal. So I kept the habit going. I just kept the habit going, which means that it started to build over time. And once you get that habit kind of in place, then it makes it easier and easier to save. And surprisingly, what people don't realize is when you have money set aside in a savings account, you end up not having to go into debt as much, which is why I always tell people to prioritize savings.
Absolutely.
When you have this chunk of money right here, you don't have to use that credit card. When you have money on the side, that flat tire doesn't become a major expense for you.
Yes.
Drive you in the hole and cause you to be back a couple of months. It doesn't cause you to go over budget because you have some type of money to pull from. So it's very important to set that aside and have a little nest egg, but before you start to pay off debt.
Yeah, and I think I had to learn that a little bit. And what I hated to do, I still hate to go into my savings, right? But what I always say is like, thank God I have it, right? Thank God I don't have to, car problems, dental problems. Those are the two main problems in my life, seemingly, that come up, and that is a hefty bill, right? And just not to have to max a credit card out feels just such relief.
And with us recently, we just had, Hurricane Zeta just hit.
Yes.
And all the food in our refrigerator was spoiled. We was out without power for a couple days. We had to purchase food. So all of that ended up being an extra $300-400 that I was not planning to spend. However, we had it, Yes. And so that $300-400 could have been on a credit card instead of just taking the cash out the bank. And I would end up paying interest on it, which means if it's a $400 expense, once you finish paying the interest, you've paid for it 3-4 times, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's much, much better to just start the habit of saving.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. This is about saving, but this is back to saving for the holidays. What are the benefits? Would you recommend opening a Christmas account? Or, you know, sometimes people do that. I have not done it because, like I said, I'm not a big spender for the holidays. So, you know, it would probably just be for me to take it out at the end of the year just to be like, hey, you saved you some more money. But what do you recommend people opening these types of accounts? Are they beneficial?
Yeah, so if you are with a credit union, I know that a Christmas account is very beneficial. They will hold the money for you. They will set it aside automatically. You can also set one up with, you know, your bank to where you just have
Hmm.
an account that just automatically pulls money out. If you're with Capital One 360, you can have your one account with Capital One 360 and break it down into other accounts within that same account. They just have a system to where you can save for
That's
different
cool.
things. But it's great to name that account. With mine,
Hmm.
I do mine with an app. So if you've ever heard of Digit or App
Hmm.
Capital, that's the way I like to save mine because it just kind of takes a little bit out of my account.
Sure.
I have all of these different types of expenses and they're all named. So I have one
Hmm.
for Christmas, medical expenses, Thanksgiving,
Okay.
auto, home. And so that being able to take out $20 and putting it aside in each one of these, it might be $40 or $60 total, but they're each getting something every time I get paid. And it makes it much easier to be able to pull that money out that was set aside for Christmas, because that's what it was for. It's named and it's
Right.
and waiting for you.
Yeah, and I think naming it is a good point because a lot of times, you know, we'll put money aside for something and that
Yeah,
something changes, you know, like 100 times because we don't really have it specified. And not only does it change 100 times, but we dip into it a
exactly.
hundred times. So, you know, you look up and you like, well, I had a little something saved, but since it wasn't for something specific, you know, it just kind of went, you know, it just kind of went away. Um, I've never done the Christmas thing or anything like that, but I do have Digit, like you said, and I need to name mine is one, and it's called Rainy Day. And you know, I try not to go into. I try to give myself times, you know, that I can go into it, and I basically named it Rainy Day because it's such an easy way to save, and it's such a passive way to save. You look up and you have a good little chunk of change, and sometimes, you know, you just need that extra little money that you don't necessarily want to take out of your savings. You may just need a little something extra, and I can usually go to my Digit account, and it can give me a little boost when I need it. So that's definitely a good recommendation. And we're going to go to our next commercial break, but I have a few more questions for you, and we're hoping that we're helping people out. I know, like I said earlier, this is something that is not really discussed, especially in African American households. So we're just trying to help you. If you haven't had a plan yet, I know it's November, but it's not too late to get you a plan started. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and we'll try to get them answered. We are going to our next commercial break. Stay tuned.
Bowtie Brown Productions presents Listen to My Thoughts with J. Damian Brown on Facebook every Tuesday at 9:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Listen to My Thoughts, a Bowtie Brown production.
So I wanted to, before we go to our next topic, I want to mention Lisa's comment. She said, Digit had me until they started charging. Okay, so help me with this. I don't know if I didn't realize it. So Digit is now charging what? A small portion of what they take from you, or do they take a little bit extra?
So they are, I believe that Digit, I'm not with Digit, I'm actually with Capital. It's
Okay.
QAPITAL, and they have it to where they have certain levels, but mine was grandfathered in. So I believe that Capital charges too, but they're free.
Okay.
So I'm still using them. However, I do know a bunch of people who were using Digit. I want to say it's like $3 or $4 a month now. And
Okay.
they with Digit, they started, it was $3, and I believe that they take it from the savings or they'll take it from your account depending on how much you have in there. So if you're like that and you're like, you know, I'm not with the the charge, I don't want $3 a month, it's too much for me, then I would definitely still suggest to set it up yourself and do an automated thing to where you
Sure.
have set up to another account and you pull it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Capital One 360 is another way to where if you want to name your accounts, you can break out as many as you need and name them all.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Overall, speaking, generally, are fees our enemy? Because sometimes, like, okay, like I didn't know until Lisa just said that Digit was even charging now, and I've been having a Digit for a long time, so maybe I was blessed enough to be
Yeah.
grandfathered in. I don't know. But that just lets you know that I'm not really paying, I guess, as much attention to my finances as I thought, right? Because if they are charging me, I didn't notice that I was being charged. Overall, are fees the enemy? Or when
So
do fees, at what point do they become the enemy?
I believe fees become the enemy when they outweigh the benefit of that particular thing that you're doing.
Okay.
Let's say if I was being charged with using capital, I always look at, does the benefit outweigh the cost? If I had to pay $6 and I saved $2,000 over the course of the year, and I know I would not save
Mm-hmm.
that amount of money on my own, then I would definitely say that it's worth it.
Okay.
Now, I am not a big fan of like NSF fees and all. Like,
Oh,
I'm very, very careful on
I
my
call them in a minute. I'd be like, I need y'all to reverse that, baby.
and believe me, a lot of people don't know that, but if you get on the phone with them, they will
Yes,
reverse those
they
bank,
will.
those $12 fees. You can really get a lot of those reversed. But I would always look at, see if the benefit outweighs the cost. Is the
Mhm.
value of this particular thing, does it outweigh what I'm going to pay for it? Because a lot of times we pay for other things like eating out and doing,
Yes.
that doesn't bother us. And
Right.
there's no real true, like, you're not going to get anything back from that.
Right.
So once you spend the money, it's automatically gone. So I look
Sure.
at, any subscriptions I have, I'm always constantly thinking about that subscription. I review my subscriptions every single month, and I'm saying,
That's a good habit.
value? Yeah. Do I still value this subscription? And is it benefiting me? If it is, I keep it.
Sure. And your husband just said he signs up for free trials all of the time and he forgets to cancel them. Tori, let me tell you what I do. This is what I do.
Oh,
I have made a commitment. I sign up for the app, right? And I immediately go to my subscription settings and
thank you.
cancel it right then, right? And
I
that's the way
tell her.
that's the way that's the way that has kept me together, because usually when I get apps, it's for a very specific reason, right? And usually, honestly, most of them don't serve me past 30 days or
Right.
past the trial period. And if they do, then I'll go on and renew. But I go straight, I press download, and then I go straight and be like, okay, cancel subscription. They're like, you still have it available to you until your trial ends. Well, praise the Lord, because that's exactly how I do it, Tori. So that's your tip. That's your tip from me. I know your wife is the guru,
Yes,
but
but
that's your tip.
I will see a charge and I'm like, Tori,
What
did you
is
forget
this?
to cancel? What is this? What is this? And he's like, oh man, I'm so sorry, I forgot. But another thing that I do that, if you just have, you don't know where all your subscriptions are, let's say you have a bunch of different things going on and you just need a restart, a refresh, I will change my card. And I know that may
Okay,
sound extreme to people, but
listen,
if you change your card, then you automatically have to reevaluate everything that you have signed
that's
up
good.
for. And it's a great way to stop all of those subscriptions that was already going on and get a fresh start. So
That's
even
good.
if you don't know where all of these different subscriptions are, because there's PayPal, there's some in Apple, there's some that's connected
Yes.
to the card, and you don't even know what half of these are, just cancel your card and start over.
Yes, that is excellent advice. And speaking of which, this is kind of going into what we were talking about. What is the best way for us to manage our money during the holidays? I know, we can have a savings here, And I know what also can happen is, you know, okay, I put aside 500 for Thanksgiving, but then I ended up spending 1,000 for Thanksgiving. So inside of us having a savings and having a plan, how we manage that is important. How do we still kind of have a plan within a plan, if that makes sense?
Right. So there are a couple of things that you can do. I'm really going to name like three things. The first one
Mhm,
is to be selective.
mhm.
What do I mean by be selective? I mean that after you have made your plan and you're looking at your plan as you're going up, I want you to think about, each particular purchase as its own thing. Does it
Okay.
benefit the person? Is it worth the price? Is there something else that you could possibly do instead? But really, really, really think about and be selective about what you're purchasing and even who you're purchasing for. We don't need to purchase
Mhm.
every single person in our life. So you really want to think about who you definitely need to purchase for and what you're buying during the holidays. And I know at one point I was meeting with one of my clients who they just decided to celebrate in January. So they would literally do Christmas gifts
Okay.
in January because everything was like half off or
Right.
75% off. And no one in the family like really cared about it
Mhm.
on Christmas Day. They didn't have small kids, so it wasn't like that. So they just waited and they got together the second week of January and then they exchanged gifts then. But you have to really kind of think outside of the box and be
Yes.
very selective. No idea is a bad idea. So that's the
Mhm.
very first thing. You have to resist temptation. The second thing, it's that temptation. I know everything in the mall smells amazing. There's cinnamon. It's, the mall is designed
It's a trap.
the trap. It smells wonderful. They got you in the cozy sweaters and the candles, and it's all designed to help you spend money, to make you
Mhm.
feel cozy and make you spend more money. So you have to resist that temptation and make sure that you have a list on hand that will keep you on track so that you stay focused and you don't start just random shopping or impulsive shopping, which can
Mhm.
in a lot of trouble. That's how you can go from spending $50 to 200 really, really quickly, right?
Yeah.
Of that impulsive shopping, that feeling of just wanting to be in the mood for Christmas. And if you are one of those people that as soon as you walk in the mall, that happens to you, then I would suggest that you shop online. There are a lot
Mhm.
of things that you can get online, and you will be more likely to stay focused and be selective and be able to like kind of shop around if you do it online.
Sure. And all of those are good tips. And so let me ask you this. If I go to the store and, $50 was my budget, but I end up spending 250, how do I get back on track from that? Is all lost or can I get back on track?
So you can definitely get back on track. Of course, if you have an overall budget and you overspend in shopping, can you
Mhm.
take it from another area? Were you going to spend a lot on food? Were you going to do some other type of activities? Can you pull it from there? If there is nowhere else that you can pull it, then I would definitely suggest that you relook at your regular budget and see how
Mhm.
we kind of get back on track and see if there's any other regular expenses that you can cut, any monthly expenses that you can cut that can help you get back on track and save a little bit. And then if all else fails, you can always try and look for ways to make more money. I think that we are focused on cutting expenses, but sometimes you can make it too. There are a
Right.
bunch of side hustles, things that you
Yes.
from your couch with your computer. I've talked about like I have a video on my YouTube channel of 5 things that you can do from your couch to make money online.
Oh, I'm
And
definitely gonna post that. We need
there
that.
is a bunch of things that you can do, like literally, just from your couch, checking out different sites and make a little money online so that you can still add to your budget.
That's very good advice. And I I know that you are creative. You are a creative person. You're good with your hands. You make all cute little stuff. So, what are some things that, we make some people are just gift givers by nature, right? They like to give gifts. And some people, I'm into the love languages, but not, to that far extent. But some people's love language is to receive gifts. So if I have that person in my life or people, right? Because what happens when I have multiple people in my life whose language, love language is gift giving? What are some things that I can make, or some ways that I can be creative that I can still make these people feel special and loved, but also not, kill the bank, break the bank?
Yeah. So there are a bunch of, depending on how creative you want to get or what you like to do. I have done, if you know, I have a lot of females in my life who are stationary lovers, including myself. So I have made them planners. Like I have my planner here. I've made them planners. I've made them budget books. I've made different cards.
Mhm.
I've done just a bunch of different things with just different little things in cricket, depending on if you are
Yes.
how crafty you are. But you can always Google a bunch of different handmade crafts or just different things. Like Amazon has a bunch of little things that they could possibly, and even if they are a crafty person that you are
Mhm.
purchasing for, then you could
Mhm.
get them the supplies for
Sure.
a craft project that they absolutely love. If you are into knitting, you can do, I have a friend who loves to knit and she made us all scarves. So
Yeah, that's
it depends
cool.
on what's your love. Mine is definitely planners and stickers and all things like pretty girly, stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Stationery
I'm with you.
books and really nice pens and stuff like that. So I'm always giving away stationary things. But like I said, throughout the year, look for those
Mhm.
small things that if you really think about what a person's hobby is, what they truly enjoy, usually the hobby, if you focus on hobbies that people have, usually you can think of an inexpensive gift that's
Mhm.
associated with their hobby, right? Like I have a friend who loves like different scents. So I buy her candles because she
Yeah,
loves candles, and but it's something that's so small that
sure.
really means something to them because you're attaching it to something that they already love.
Absolutely. And for me, I think, and I didn't even think about this until you were talking about it, but I am a serious card buyer, right? Like I'm that person that's in the card aisle forever, reading the cards, but I would also get to the register. Cards are expensive, right? So I would get to the register, and if it's your birthday, like I was always the person like, okay, I'm gonna get a funny card, then I'm gonna get a serious card. I was that person. And then like I said, I would get to the register and I'm paying $25 for cards. And that's not even what I'm putting in the card, or that's not even the gift. So what I started doing is buying blank cards, because I will always write a lot. I don't care how perfect the wording in the card was. I would always take that blank side and write a book, because that is just what I do. So I just started buying blank cards. I just started buying blank cards and just filling them completely up with my words, with my sentiments, and it's always more special to me. And even in COVID, right? COVID came up, so I'm telling my secret. So for those of you who got a card from me, which was my mom, my dad, my sister, and my godchild. So now y'all really finding out the truth. But COVID, was in the thick of it for like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and stuff like that. And I couldn't find any of my blank cards. I had blank cards, but they were all thank you cards, right? So I
Right.
was like, this is all I have. So I flipped that thing. I was like, thank you for being everything in my life. Thank you for being this. Thank you for being that. Thank you for allowing me to love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless.
Yeah.
So I had to be crafty in that I wasn't ready to go to the store. Most of the time, the things surprised me, because the time just got all jumbled for COVID, right?
Right.
So I looked up and I didn't want these days to pass. So I was like, how can I still, in my own way, show them that I love and appreciate them? And child, it was thank you cards. Thank you for
Yeah.
being a friend. So it was my way of being creative and also, kind of saving a little money, but also being, crafty with what you have. And sometimes we have stuff right on hand that we don't even realize, right? That we can use and that will mean the world to people. I love a card because I give cards, right? I love a card with a letter in it because that's what I do. So I think a lot of times it's just about noticing what's around you. And like you said, being aware of who we're buying for, what they like, what they enjoy, et cetera, et cetera. So I do have a couple of more questions for you, but we're going to take one last commercial break and then we're going to get to those things because they are important. So we
Yeah.
will be right back. Stay tuned. So in our last few minutes, I'm gonna kind of merge the last two, and I'm gonna ask you first, what is the biggest mistake that we make with our finances over the holidays? And from there, you can go into what are your top 3 tips for holiday finances, for spending, for saving, for just dealing, with this sometimes what people consider a burden financially.
So I would say the biggest mistake that I feel like most people make is first not having any type of budget, any
Mhm.
type of plan. Even if you don't really know how you're going to pay for everything, still write it down. Because
Okay.
writing it down kind of gives you some clarity and it will help you to start thinking outside the box of, okay,
Mhm.
what can I do instead, even if I don't have the money for this particular thing? So you start off with your budget. You need to start off with your plan. And a lot of times I think that people feel like their mind, oh, I'm gonna just remember everything. But
Yes.
what usually ends up happening is we usually end up overspending when we're relying on our memory because your
Mhm.
mind can only hold 7 things at a time. This is just
Okay.
on average,
That's
your
good to know.
memory, you can only remember 7 things at a time. So now you got to think about it. You got work, you got school, you got church, you got home, like you got family.
Yes.
If you only can remember 7 things,
Oof.
and things are constantly coming in and out of your brain. And you remember something, then you forget it because you remember something else. And I'm supposed to do this.
Okay.
I need to
That's
go there.
good.
And I got to do this and I got to do that, which means that we're constantly recycling different things and you're going to be frazzled without that list, without that plan, without something written down that kind of keeps you set. So that's why I have my planner. I live by a planner. I'm
Yes.
always constantly referring to it. I'm always talking about it because my budget planner and my life planner helps me keep that list all the way
Mhm.
through, and I'm always going to remember it. The second thing is not saving anything at all before the holidays. Save a little bit. Like I said, even if it's $5, even if it's $10, that's going toward this holiday budget. What ends up happening is that even if you have saved $50 for your holiday budget, it's $50 that doesn't have to come out of your regular account, right? That
Absolutely.
have extra that you can kind of pull from. So any little thing that you can pull from, no matter how small it is, it will definitely benefit you. And then the third mistake that most people make that I feel like you definitely need to not do is shop at the last minute.
Mm.
That shopping at the last minute is just as bad as not having a plan or a list at all, because one of the worst places to be is to shop in an extreme emotional place.
Yes.
Extremely happy, extremely sad, extremely anxious, anything of the extremes, you
Mhm.
to be frazzled and you're going to end up spending more money than you need to. And shopping at the last minute with the crowds, you would be like, you know what, I'm gonna just get this, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
way over your budget. You've blown your budget because you're shopping in a frantic state. So that's my main three things that I would advise you to do. Make sure you have a list, have your planner, have it all written down because you don't want to rely on your memory. Make sure that you're saving a little bit every single time you get paid so that you have a little nest egg, and don't shop at the last minute.
Yes, and all of those are so important. And one of our guests just mentioned something we talked about earlier. Many banks offer holiday savings accounts. There are options out there that many of us may know about, but we don't know enough about them to really, or we don't do enough research, or we always say next year. Well, this year, even I know it's November the 3rd, but even if you have not started a plan, it's not too late to just at least put things in motion, because if you wait till March, because that's what Alaina told us earlier, if we wait, then it's going to be like a 90-day situation. So if we wait, then here we are, it's going to be November 2021. And then you're going to be like, I thought I had a plan. I thought I had a situation. So I hope tonight was very helpful for you all. I hope it got your mind off of the election. I know I totally forgot about it for a hot second. So it did what it was supposed to do. I hope you come back and you refer to this and you watch this and you contact Alaina. Alaina, tell people where they can find you, social media, services you offer. Just give them the whole kit and caboodle.
So on Mondays, I do a Money Monday class. It's absolutely free. It's on Zoom, so you can find me there. You can also find me on Instagram if you want to register for that class. Like I said, it's a free class. On Instagram, I'm at The Organized Money. On YouTube, at The Organized Money. Everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, The Organized Money. You can definitely find me there. I'm always sharing videos. I post videos to YouTube every Tuesday and Friday. I offer a free class on Mondays, and I have a group coaching program. It's $20 a month, and I'm teaching you how to plan your life and manage your money within that group. You get a bunch of resources from me, digital downloads, classes, and a bunch of things that just will help you get organized.
Alaina, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. And please get with Alaina, you all. She has a lot of free resources, as she just said, that can really help you out. It's starting in the small place, and being willing to make those small sacrifices that turn out to be amazing. Okay, wait, Tori is telling us to do something. Money Monday classes. You can also text wealth to 72,000. Okay.
The best way to register. You can
Best way to register.
72,000. Text the word wealth. It's going to ask you for your name and your email address, and then you'll automatically be placed on the mailing list. You'll get the link to Zoom and be able to join us on Money Monday.
Amen. Amen. I'm churchy. Amen. I was trying to say amazing, but amen.
This month we're actually talking about side hustles. So
okay.
If you are interested in trying to make some money to get ready for the holidays, join me this Monday because we're going to be talking about side hustles and ways to
be there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there because I'm always looking for a little way to give me a little change. Alaina, again, thank you. I appreciate you coming on tonight. I'm gonna ask you on the spot if you'll come back because I gave you a night that was something that you enjoy talking about, but it's not our normal churchy chats. We're usually, talking all kind of crazy topics. So I want to have you back where we can just chat it up about any and everything. Will you come back?
Of course, anytime.
Thank you so much, Alaina. I appreciate it. And as usual, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And I'm excited to announce that I finally have some new products on the way. As you can see, I have on one of our new items that will be available soon for the holidays. I'm super excited about that because, it's been a little while. So I'm excited to introduce these products to you. And I just want everybody to have a great night tonight. I want you to be at peace. I want you to do whatever, you need to do to protect your peace and know that in the end that it really is well and all will be well. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for joining the conversation. And until next time, next Tuesday, right here, same time, same place on Churchy Chats with the Church Girl. Good night.